So, the United States government is probing, investigating TSMC over secret Huawei deals. TSMC does not confirm or deny the allegations. So here's what's going on, and we'll get out of here. When Trump was in office, they put sanctions on Huawei. Huawei is a Chinese company. They manufacture mobile electronics, phones, tablets, what have you, hotspots, electronics, right? Now, Huawei was found to be spying on the U.S. government, the U.S. people, U.S. tech-based companies, literally stealing secret files, stealing patent ideas, literally hacking into other companies. Huawei went so far and so deep into spying. They took basically CIA and Mossad and Chinese spy tactics. So they actually had Huawei people go get a job at Samsung, go get a job at Apple, go get a job at Google, a bunch of these tech companies. And they would work, and this is over a few years, would work their way up in the company and send sensitive information back to Huawei, just like they do in any other country that you have spies in. U.S. found out. U.S. put them on sanctions and said, no company, they said, here's what the U.S. government said, we're not doing business with Huawei, and they cannot do business with us. You cannot sell products here. Nobody that's American is allowed to do business with you, with Huawei. And if you do, big time trouble. Big time trouble, like jail time trouble. So nobody's touching Huawei. Now, also in those sanctions, the U.S. will not do business of any form, any way, shape, or form if you do business with Huawei. Meaning, if I'm the U.S. and Huawei is over here to the right, and you are Samsung. So I, as the U.S. government, could not do business with you, Samsung, if you, Samsung, were doing business with Huawei. See what I'm saying? So, like, it's not only the government where it's not going to do, the U.S. government's not going to do business with Huawei. We, the U.S. government, will not allow, it's federally against the law, for us to do business with you because you do business with Huawei. You see how that works? Like, we don't want any attachment to Huawei whatsoever. Literally nothing. We want to put them on an island. We're not even going to mess with you if you talk to them. So now that we have that foundation and groundwork laid out, that's basically what's happening in this situation. So it appears Huawei has been doing business with TSMC. Now, not directly, because that would be a blatant violation of U.S. law. So what they're doing is, it appears Huawei is doing business with TSMC through a third party. So as I mentioned, TSMC, it makes it bar none the best CPUs, the best chips in the world, and it's not even close. It's not even close. It would be like Michael Jordan, who is TSMC, or Patrick Mahomes, who's TSMC, going up against Muggsy Bogues, or Jay Cutler in the NFL versus Mahomes. Like, they're in the same, if you produce chips or you play football, you're in the same league. But the talent, their production is just not even comparable. Now, here's the big issue. So if Huawei is secretly going through a third-party company because Huawei wants their chips made by TSMC, right? They're a company that is trying to make the very best products it can. Now, if you have to have CPUs, are you going to try to go get CPUs from Samsung, who's really been struggling? Or are you going to try to go get CPUs made by TSMC? I'm going to go with TSMC. So they know they can't do it directly. So what they're doing is hiring I don't know about hiring. They're doing business. They're breaking them off. They're having a third-party company place orders for Huawei for CPUs. and that third-party company is paying TSMC. TSMC is manufacturing those CPUs and sending them to the third-party company, and then the third-party company is sending those CPUs to Huawei. And technically, if that's the case, and the government finds out, which I think they know what's going on, and that's why they're probing, right? Where there's smoke, there's fire. But if we follow the letter of the law, that means the U.S. has to stop doing business with TSMC. That means no more Apple CPUs. That means no more Google Tensor CPUs. That means no more Qualcomm CPUs. No more MediaTek CPUs. And that $22 billion chip manufacturing plant that TSMC is almost done building in Arizona. No more Arizona TSMC plant. If the government finds TSMC's involvement is true, it could mean this would be the biggest disruption in the mobile industry as a whole, maybe ever. Now, do I think a probe into TSMC would lead to that? So let's think of outcomes. So we just discussed the worst outcome possible, right? America saying, sorry, TSMC, we can't do business with you because you're doing business with Huawei. That means Apple, no more iPhone. Well, they would produce an iPhone, but it would suck. Pixel, Samsung uses MediaTek and Qualcomm. So as you can tell, like it would be a disaster. Now, I don't see this happening, honestly. Now, could the U.S. fine TSMC? That's probably what's going to happen if they're found guilty. I have no idea. I don't know who's to blame. And also, what's their involvement? Does TSMC know that these chips that they're producing are going to Huawei? Or is there a paper trail, right? How much do they know? Are they in the blind? Do they just think this third-party company is giving them money, TSMC is giving them chips, and that's it? Or do they know that there's a back channel to Huawei? If the government finds in this investigation finds out that TSMC is knowingly producing chips for this third-party company, knowing that they are going to eventually go back to Huawei, and that money that they're receiving is from Huawei via the third party, you will see penalty. You can't not let this go without penalty. Now, do I think they're going to follow through and cut ties with TSMC? I do not. I think that would be a complete disaster. You have multi-trillion-dollar companies. Apple, Google, Samsung, Qualcomm, billion-dollar company, MediaTek, billion-dollar company. It would disrupt the trickle-down effect. It would come down to me and you, because that would mean the devices we get in the future would suck, and they would probably be more expensive. So it would be in the best interest that the relationship between the United States government, the United States companies, and TSMC, it would be in the best interest that we still do business. I just think if they're found guilty, you're probably going to see a fine, right? But technically, if you go by the letter of the law, it could happen. So I'm going to put this article, I'm going to link this article in the description box below. Once this video is done, come back to the video in a couple of minutes. eSIM Studios on YouTube, and I'll have the link there. I have to run. But a very interesting story that literally just broke last night. So you can start to think if Apple, if all the major manufacturers had to seek another chip manufacturer, disaster, absolute disaster. I mean, we're talking trillions of dollars being interrupted. Supply chains just going haywire, and not just phones. We're talking computers, we're talking AI. AI would take a 5-year hit because these are NVIDIA is not the only one producing AI chips. TSMC is a huge manufacturer for AI specific chips. If that connection got severed, it would disrupt the industry for maybe 5 to 7 years because they are so far in advance with their technology and their chip making. There was a report that came out last week. A technology analyst said that the other chip makers are 5 to 7 years behind TSMC, meaning if TSMC stopped today, it would take all the other chip makers, and there's not a lot, but there's a handful, they're just not as good. It would take them 5 to 7 years just to get where we're at right now with TSMC in their chip making abilities and technology. That would be a disaster for the tech world. Not just cell phones, everything. Chips for your cars, automobiles, chips get made via TSMC. AI models, right? Gemini, ChatGPT. All of them are using chips manufactured by TSMC. So it would literally put a freeze on the tech world for 5 to 7 years. And that's not good. That's not good. So you can all it takes is a few minutes and thinking of how this trickle down effect would touch every industry, every single industry. They make chips for stuff you don't even think of, right? Eye scanning software, home security stuff. All these chips are made there. They don't just produce CPUs for phones, even though that's probably their biggest, the biggest item as far as production that goes out the door for TSMC. They produce chips for everything. So I think if this gets if this goes left, not just me or you, everybody's going to be in trouble. And I think cooler heads will prevail, and I think governments, whoever the next president is going to have to step in, honestly. And if they're found guilty of wrongdoing, they cannot sever ties, right? Just fine. If they're found guilty, if they know that the money's coming from Huawei, if they know the chips are going back to Huawei, just give them a fine and move forward, please. It would destroy the tech industry if we had to sever ties with TSMC. Destroy the tech industry. So, anyways, I gotta run, but you can check out this article. It's very, very cool. I sourced some of my information among some other articles, but it just broke last night. So, trust me, you're gonna want to stay on track and stay up to basis with this story. So, I gotta run. How many? Do we got more than a couple of people? All right, so check this out. Since we only got a few people, I'm gonna push back my giveaway until tomorrow. If we got more than a few people in the chat, we will do a giveaway tomorrow. We'll do an Amazon gift card probably tomorrow. So eSIM Studios podcast on YouTube. You have to enter there, watch it there to enter. And we'll do that. So I gotta run. I got a lot of pictures to take. We're gonna go to this pumpkin patch festival thing, and I'm gonna have a phone in each pocket. So I'm gonna get some good camera. I got all my phones plugged in, so all of them are fully charged. But make some content out of that. So you'll probably see some videos, some shorts, some comparison stuff here in the next few days from this afternoon. But and then I'll probably pick up the Galaxy Book 4 Edge tomorrow, I believe. I just don't have time today, but they still have them in stock. So appreciate the time. Thank you very much. Please have a safe and enjoyable Saturday afternoon. I know I will, knock on wood. Yes, we will be very safe and enjoy it. But we will see you tomorrow. Giveaway tomorrow on Sunday. Don't know when I'm going to schedule it, but stay tuned and you will find out. Peace out, guys. Thank you.